Hey guys, this is Saptarshi here and welcome to our YouTube channel. So today we are going to continue our discussion on neural network optimizers. We are not only going to look at two new kind of optimizers named as RMS prop and Adam, but we are trying to go through the entire journey of starting from the basic gradient descent algorithms. What was the need of going for momentum based algorithms? Then the concept of changing the learning rate in terms of ADA grad or ADA delta, and then finally we'll look at this too, and we'll try to give a summary of comparison. What is the advantage of disadvantage of the different optimizers? Okay, so this is the central equation of gradient descent based algorithms. Okay, where if you have a value of the parameters in one iteration as wa old, okay, so maybe it is in n minus one iteration, then the value of the parameter is calculated in the nth iteration based on two things. One is the gradient. Gradient of what? Gradient of the loss function. Okay, loss function actually measures how close is your prediction with the actual value, and the gradient of this with respect to the parameter value. And it turns out that if your loss function is perfectly convex like this, so if your w goes in x-axis and this is your cost function, then it turns out that if I follow a simple step like this, then I can reach the value of w, okay, which minimizes the loss function. All right. Now it turns out that there are three options of calculating this del W. One is that if I have, let's say, n training observations, okay, or let's use some another notation, let's say k training observations, then one option is that I calculate del W when I calculate loss for all k observations. So that is called as batch gradient descent. Okay, and if I calculate the gradient after each observation, so I calculate the loss and find the gradient after each observation, then this is called as stochastic gradient descent. Alternatively, what can also happen is I can calculate this on p observation. So p is a subset of k, and in this case we call this as a mini batch gradient descent. And in terms of their behavior of convergence, okay, so often this plot is called as a contour plot. So you can think of there are two parameters which you are trying to find out, and basically this is your optimal value of the loss function. So gradient descent will traverse a path like this. Mini batch gradient descent will have slightly more zigzag path, and stochastic gradient descent will have quite a noisy path. Okay, so it is also called as that it calculates noisy gradients. Okay, so one of the question that can come to your mind is that why do we go for stochastic gradient descent? So yes, one point is of course computational efficiency, but even without that, so your loss function is not necessarily to have a surface like this. So it can have instead a surface like this. All right. So if you start here, you can get stuck over here, or you can get stuck over here. So these 2 points are called as your local minima, and this is your global minima. All right. So it turns out that stochastic gradient descent is much less prone to get stuck in the local minima. All right. So now what we see is the concept of momentum. So as I said, that stochastic gradient descent has a problem of noisy gradient, because as you calculate the gradient for each observation, the gradient will be quite diverging, right? So one of the thing, when we have a very noisy signal, what we do is we take an average, right? We take a moving average. So momentum just gives that concept. So instead of calculating the derivative of the current step, okay, so it kind of maintains a history, okay, and it is not only moving average, it is actually a exponential moving average. So the current derivative will get the highest weight, and then as you go back to history, the weight will slowly decay out. Okay, so this can converge faster and also can come out of plateau quickly. All right. So if you compare SGD, stochastic gradient descent, and stochastic gradient descent with momentum, the right side being stochastic gradient descent with momentum, you see that somewhere this randomness is lesser and it is converging faster. Okay, so that's why we move from SGD to momentum. Now, as we were discussing that there are two components which actually determines the value of the parameter in the next iteration, which is one is the derivative, another is the learning rate. Now the question, or now the option that we think about is that can we also not change the learning rate? Okay, and why we actually think of changing the learning rate? The reason is that many of the optimization algorithm, what we want is that we want the learning rate to go down as we move towards the optimal value. Okay, that is another very specific advantage which will come in a minute. Okay, so this is again the same equation that we are going to use for explaining. And now for generalization, instead of using this new and old, we are using iteration. So tth iteration parameter value, we are using t minus 1 iteration value. And as we were saying, now we are not using the learning rate like this, a constant fixed learning rate, but from iteration to iteration, this learning rate will change. How this will change? It will again change based on the derivatives. Okay, so every iteration we will decay the learning rate little bit, right? So we are dividing by a value, and we are using a parameter epsilon. Okay, so that alpha t, if alpha t is 0, we don't get a divide by 0 error. But hold on, what is alpha t? Alpha t is actually nothing but the sum of the second derivatives. Okay, sum of the second derivatives. And as I said that this actually slows down the learning as you move towards the optima. So there is no chance that actually you can cross the optima and have to come back. Okay, so the most important advantage, as I was telling, is each neuron can have a different learning rate. So this is the most important thing. So not only for each iteration we are having a different learning rate, but each neuron can learn at its own space. Okay, so this actually gives another very important advantage, that you will have some features which has very high variability, and you can have some features which are very low variability. Sometimes you call also these kind of features as dense features and sparse features. And by this algorithm, while the learning rate for dense feature or highly varying features has come down well, for the features which are very less variance, the learning rate doesn't come down that slowly, right? So they still continue to learn in a significant manner. Okay, and just for your notation, this alpha t is often represented by s in some of the literature. All right. Now let's come to the concept of RMS prop. So RMS prop actually looks at this concept of ADA grad and ADA delta. So where ADA grad has a problem that if it is a dense feature or the features have very high variability, the learning rate can come down very quickly. Okay, so instead of making that come down very quickly, we can actually slow down that rate. How we can slow down? Again, what we are going to do is we are going to use the same concept of ADA-grad. Okay, so this is what you have already seen in ADA-grad. Instead of alpha t, we are just using this notation s. And what we are doing extra is now we are decaying by, we are bringing some parameter beta. Okay, so what will be this effect? So again, this has the same effect of taking a moving average, right? So the decay will be not as fast, or the decay will not be completely dependent on the current term, or or equally dependent on all the history terms, right? So it turns out that RMS brings a decaying effect, and which improves the concept of ADA grad. Okay, so this is where RMS prop is different. Now let's go to the concept of ADAM. So it actually traverses further and combines the concept of momentum and RMS prop. So RMS momentum was dealing with the numerator, and RMS prop and your ADA grad was dealing with the denominator, right? So in ADAM, what you do is First, you take the momentum term, and there is a little bit of difference in the way we have discussed momentum earlier. So why we are doing in this manner is we are just trying to bring both this momentum and the decay term in similar fashion. And of course we are not calling it beta because we are going to take two parameters now. All right, and this is the parameter by which you are adapting the learning rate, right? So now what we are going to do is, instead of directly, so earlier what we are using is that we were using this neta t directly, but now we are also bringing effect of n. Okay, and you know that neta t is nothing but n by s plus e. So you are getting the effect of momentum in the numerator, and the denominator is effect of denominator is. So there is also one thing that Adam does, which is called as bias correction. So what happens is that if you start, so m and s, you start with very small value, very close to 0. So initially m and s will be will be having very less value. So so that it doesn't happen, you do this correction where t is your iteration. So as in your initial iterations this will have a higher value, so this will get multiplied quite heavily. However, as you move on from iteration to iteration, this will reduce. So beta 1 beta 2 is always less than 1. Okay, always less than 1, and that's the reason as you move forward, this will kind of have a less effect, a dampening effect, right? All right. So we have seen the new type of optimizers, RMS prop and Adam. Now let's look at how they fare on this MNIST data set, right? So if you look at these are your AdaGrad, RMS prop, SGD Nestrov, Ada Delta and Adam, and you will see that Adam actually has the best loss rate. So this is your loss rate, or this is your iteration, and this is your training cost. Okay, so you see that the training cost goes down faster for Adam, right? Okay, and now let's give a final comparison of all these algorithms. So this is a very important part. Let's follow it very carefully. So we started with gradient descent. It is easy to compute, easy to interpret, okay, easy to implement. However, may trap to local minima and need high memory and slow convergence. So for that we need to move to SGD, right? Because it can converge faster, it is less prone to local minima, and less memory is required because you don't need the entire training observations to be loaded in the memory, right? However, it had the problem of unstable and noisy gradient. And mini batch tried to go somewhere in between. However, all these methods, if you try to summarize for the gradient based methods, all these have a tendency to get stuck at local minima and depends heavily on learning rate, right? Okay, so actually then you come to momentum, and when you come to momentum you solve the stability issue of instability of gradient. So it basically, I said that SGD has noisy gradient, so momentum tries to smoothen that. However, you are adding more hyperparameters, right? So computation is going up, right? And we also saw that there is some improvement with Nestrom momentum, right? So it doesn't only calculate the direction at current stage, but at future state, and that brings quite a good amount of improvement. And then we went to AdaGrad because AdaGrad allows you to change learning rate. So that is a very important advantage, and each neuron can learn at a different pace. Okay, so again it is computationally slow, and gradient for some neurons can go to 0 quickly. To solve this particular problem, we came up with RMS prop. Okay, so it has same advantages of AdaGrad, but now the learning rate doesn't decay that quickly. So it allows you to, or it decays the learning rate now slowly. And finally, we came to Adam, right, which combines the idea of RMS prop and momentum and converges fast. Okay, has good behavior, all right, but it is computationally more costly. So many literature suggests that Adam is currently the most state of the art algorithm, but you will have to really pick at your data set, your problem, and see which of the optimizers are working fine. So even SGD with momentum, or SGD with Nestrom momentum works pretty well. Okay, so like momentum can be improved with Nestrom acceleration. Similarly, Adam optimizer can also be improved with Nestrom acceleration, and that optimizer is called as a NADAM optimizer. Okay, so this brings us to the closer of the optimizer section. Hope I could give you some understanding of this optimizer. So next we will show you how to implement them, how to compare them on a real world problem. Please feel free to put your questions. We'll happy to go through them and answer. And if you have liked the video, please like, subscribe and comment. Thank you so much guys for watching.